Thank you so much. I think your internet connection got disturbed. So anyway, it is just we have not we have covered few points only. So our recording will include most of the session for today. And then there is a term, it is called as diversification into it. So by diversifying her portfolio, means she has a balanced potential of returns as well as risks, because she has invested into various stocks, various bonds, various mutual funds, and real estate investment trusts like that. So over a long term, she will periodically review and rebalance her portfolio to maintain her desired asset allocation based on changing market conditions and her investment goals. So therefore, remember that means this is a representation, and the actual portfolio can vary significantly. Means what you believe that you want to get, how much you want to make a balance between the risk factor and the return factor of that. And this will depend on your own preference, your financial goals, and definitely the prevailing market conditions. Because as you know that market fluctuates very much. Therefore, it is very much important to consult a financial advisor, or you must do your own research before making investment decisions into that. Now, if we see in the term of education, here we call it as learning portfolio. So a learning portfolio is a purposeful collection of a person's work. And here mostly we deal with as a student learning portfolio, which will reflect the work done by the student, and then their responses and their thought sharing, their own experiences for their learning progress, their learning journey, their achievements, their personal growths over a specific period of time, which may include either the semester wise or for the full duration of the course or something. And it is a tool for students to showcase their skills, knowledge, abilities across different subjects or areas of study. You can say that it typically includes various artifacts which represent the student's learning journey. And these artifacts, they can include essays which are written by the student, research papers, the projects, the presentations, artwork, multimedia creations, or any other work which is demonstrated, which demonstrates the understanding and the mastery of the subject matter acquired by the student. And in addition to these artifacts, a learning portfolio also incorporates reflective components. And then the students, they are encouraged to provide reflection, self-assessment, explanation, highlighting their career experiences, challenges, the insights gained from their work. The advantage is that it allows the students to think critically about their learning process, so that they can identify the areas which need improvement, and then they can set their future development goals. In that way, these things, they are very much useful to the students for them. Let's have a look at the purpose. There are many purposes of a learning portfolio. Like, it serves as a comprehensive record of the student's academic accomplishment, providing evidence of their learning outcomes and growth. And additionally, it encourages metacognition as it reflects on their learning strategies, strengths, weaknesses, like that. Moreover, these learning portfolios, they promote self-directed learning and ownership as students actively curate and present their work. They are also often used in various educational settings like school sector, college, higher education, professional education, teacher education, legal education, medical education, like that. It has multifarious utilities in various educational settings. And in addition to that, they are also used as assessment tools so that we can evaluate student performance, provide them feedback, track progress over a period of time, like in their semester or for the full duration of the program. Then they serve as the basis for discussion between students. Yeah, it means that the peer discussion, discussion with teachers, parents, fostering meaningful dialogue about learning achievements and future goals. Therefore, in a nutshell, we can say that learning portfolios, they provide a holistic approach to assessing and documenting a student's educational journey, focusing not only on the final product, but also on the process of learning and personal development. So this unit, this block 5 of your course 418, it gives you some examples of learning assessment task. So we will see some of the examples of learning assessment task. Broadly speaking, a learning assessment task is a type of assessment which is used in educational settings for measuring students' understanding, students' knowledge, their skills and competencies pertaining to a specific learning objective or curriculum standard. So therefore, what we do, we try to evaluate the student performance and provide them feedback on their learning progress using these LAT, learning assessment task. Okay, there are certain issues which you need to understand about this learning assessment task. Number one is the purpose. Means they are used to assess and evaluate student learning outcomes and their abilities to apply knowledge and skills in a given context. So these tasks can range from written assignments and examination to practical demonstration, presentation, projects, or any other form of assessment that aligns with the learning objectives. The second is alignment, means they closely align with the curriculum or the learning goal of a particular course or a particular subject. They are designed to assess specific knowledge area, conceptual understanding, problem-solving abilities, critical thinking skills, creativity, and other relevant competencies. Another key point here is the authenticity. These learning task assessments, their purpose is to provide authentic assessment experience which mirror real-world situations and tasks relevant to the subject or the field of study. And by providing the students with realistic challenges and scenarios, we can assess their ability to apply knowledge or skill in a particular context. That is one of the useful application of learning assessment task. Then we have the assessment criteria. These learning assessment tasks typically have predefined assessment criteria or a rubric which outline the expectation and standards for evaluating students' performance. These criteria help ensure consistency and fairness in assessing student work across different assessors and grading instances. Another key point here is about feedback and improvement. They not only provide an evaluation of students' performance, but also offer constructive feedback. This feedback serves as a valuable tool for students to understand their strengths and means it helps them in making their SWOT analysis, which is something like strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats, so that they can identify the areas for improvement. And it helps them to guides about their own learning process and supports their future development. Then it is available in various formats. They can be designed in various formats to suit different learning objectives and assessment needs. They can include written examinations, essays, research projects, group presentation, lab experimentation, case studies, portfolio, or any other format that aligns with the learning outcomes. Another advantage is the application for summative and formative assessment. So they serve both these purposes. If we want to have summative assessment, which is mostly at the end of the duration of a course, of a semester or something, and formative assessment is the regular assessment. Like if you open any block of your course material, there you will find certain self-check exercises or something. They are a type of formative assessment because you can then analyze your understanding that how much you have understood the text, means the content, and on the basis of those model answers, you can compare. Yeah. So these summative learning assessment tasks are used to provide a final evaluation of student achievement at the end of a unit or a course or an academic term. On the other side, the formative learning assessment tasks are used during the learning process to monitor the progress, provide feedback, and guide instruction. So in a nutshell, you can say that these learning assessment tasks, they are very important in assessing students' knowledge, their skills and competencies in educational settings because they provide insights into students' understanding and learning progress, guide instruction, and support their continuous improvement. Okay, I think I will share you this presentation because there are certain points which may be little, you know, they are smaller in size here. So how we create them? There is a template for those learning task assessments. So we have first the introduction of what is the purpose. Then we go with the particular LAT, learning assessment task. We define the purpose, like measuring students' understanding or skills. It means the purpose here is to provide, first of all, to measure the student understanding and skill, to provide the feedback on the learning progress. So the purpose and the alignment are that we need to have it for assessing certain specific learning outcomes or curriculum standards, and then measuring knowledge and skills and competencies. We align them with a particular course or a particular curriculum. Then it helps is in having authentic assessment, which is like with the real world case scenarios or the real applications of learning which are available. They help us in mirroring real world situations or tasks. And they help in assessing applications of knowledge and skills about the practical contexts. After this, we try to finalize the assessment criteria. And for that, there are predefined assessment criteria or rubric so that we can ensure a consistency and fairness in assessment. And we need to create guidelines for evaluation, have feedback and improvement, and provide constructive feedback. This also helps in identifying the strengths of the student and the weak areas in which the student needs improvement. It supports the future growth of the student. It is available in various formats like written examination, essay, project, presentation. And these formats, they can be tailored to the learning objectives like written examination, essay type, assignment, or a project, or a presentation, or some field work, something like that. And then these learning task assignments, they serve diverse kind of assessment methods. And two of them are prominent: summative assessment as well as formative assessment. So that is it's basically a brief of that. So let us see the application area of it. Like you are given a learning assessment task of critically analyzing the role of internet in education. This is an example of a learning assessment task prompt which asks the students to analyze the role of internet in education critically. So what the students need to do is that They need to critically analyze the role of internet in education and consider its impact on teaching and learning, access to information, collaboration, potential drawbacks, and then the students are required to analyze with relevant examples and evidence. So we need to create then task guidelines. And this is done, number one, like introduction. So we need to provide a clear thesis statement which states our position on the role of internet in education. That is the first thing. Then second is the impact on teaching and learning. Here we need to analyze how the internet has transformed teaching methods and learning experiences, discuss the advantage and challenge of incorporating online resources, digital tools, virtual classrooms, explore the potential for personalized and self-paced learning facilitated by online platforms. Then the another about the access to information. So we need to assess the internet's role in expanding access to information and educational resources, discuss the benefit of online libraries, open educational resources, and like massive open online courses. We need to consider the implication of digital divide and inequalities in internet access for equitable education. Another point is the impact on collaboration and communication. So we need to examine how internet enables collaboration among students and teachers, and amongst students and other educational communities. We further need to discuss the use of online discussion forums, video conferencing, social media platforms in educational settings. We need to analyze the impact of global connections and cultural exchange facilities, which is facilitated by the internet. After that, we will identify certain potential drawbacks and challenges of the role of internet in education. And for that, we need to identify and analyze that what are the limitations of relying heavily on internet in education, what are the issues such as information overload, credibility of online sources, and the need for digital literacy skills. We need to discuss concerns related to privacy, online safety, and the potential for distraction and reduced face-to-face interactions. So at the end, we will conclude our LAT with conclusions. And in conclusions, we can summarize our analysis and restate our stance on the role of internet in education, which we explained in the first step under introduction. And then we need to highlight key points supporting our argument and purpose recommendations for leveraging the internet effectively in educational contexts. That is done. There is another activity which is like you are asked to create and edit a digital audio file of 10 minutes on a topic of your choice. So here you are asked to create and edit a 10-minute digital audio file on a topic of your choice. So this will demonstrate your creativity, your technical skills, and the ability to convey information or tell a story through effective audio channels. So we create certain task guidelines. So first will be the topic selection. So the student needs to choose a topic of personal interest or relevance to the subject area. After that, they need to ensure that the topic allows for a comprehensive and engaging audio presentation within the given time limit, that is 10 minutes. The second step is the planning and research. So we need to develop a clear outline and script for the audio file. We need to conduct thorough research on the chosen topic to gather accurate information and supporting content. We need to consider the target audience and the purpose of our audio file, in the sense that we need to check whether it is informative or persuasive or narrative. What is the purpose of the audio file which we will create. Then we come to the recording and editing stage. So we need to use appropriate recording equipment, like you need to have a microphone, you need to have audio editing software, like that. The purpose is to capture high quality audio. You need to ensure clear and coherent narration for engaging storytelling or effective presentation of information. Then we need to pay attention to vocal clarity, pace, and tone to maintain listener engagement throughout the audio file. We need to edit and refine the audio file for optimal quality, removing the background noise, adjusting volume levels, and editing in terms of necessary effects or music in our. The Once this is done, then recording is done. We go to creativity and engagement, and that is just a minute. So for that we need to have creativity and engagement. So we need to incorporate creative elements to enhance the audio experience in terms of sound effect, background music, interviews, like that. We need to use techniques such as storytelling, interview, or examples to captivate the listener and convey information effectively. We need to consider the use of appropriate pauses, emphasis, and tone variations to convey emotions and highlight key points. Organization and structure. Ensure a logical and coherent flow of ideas or content throughout the audio file. Then we need to use appropriate transitions between sections or topics to maintain a smooth listening experience. Structure the audio file in a way that captures the and maintains the listener's interest from beginning to end. And the last task will be reflection and self-assessment. So we need to provide a reflection on our creative and technical choices. This is how we work on creating and editing a digital audio file of 10 minutes on a topic of our choice. Let us have a look at a template for working on a learning assessment task. So I'll share this presentation if you are not able to see it on the screen, but I will explain it. That the learning assessment task template contains the first as the task description. So you need to have a title, you need to have objectives, and you need to have task guidelines. The second point is topic selection. So you have to specify the topic for this learning assessment task. You need to provide a rationale, why you are choosing that topic. So that is done. Then you need to come to the planning and research stage. So you need to create your outline or write a script. Then you need to do some research to find out sources which you will use for your work. Then you go to fourth stage of creating and editing. In that You will have, say, like recording equipment. You need to specify the equipment which you will use for recording. Then recording process, you need to outline the steps involved in recording the audio file. You need editing software, like specifying the software you will use for audio editing, and then the editing process, outlining the steps involved in editing the audio file. Fifth stage is creativity and engagement. So you work on creative elements, like you plan to incorporate all those like background music or animation or something, and engaging technique, mostly as like narration or storytelling something. You need to describe the technique you will use to captivate the listener. And then organization and structure. It should have a logical flow. You need to explain how you will ensure a logical flow of ideas. Then transitions. You need to describe the transitions you will use between sections and topics. Right. The last step is reflection and assessment. So you need to have a reflection on creative and technical choices, and you need to identify strengths and weaknesses of your work. So this is how you create a learning assessment task for some. Let us understand a learning assessment task. Means in short, we call it as LAT. So it refers to a specific task or assignment given to the students in an educational context to assess their learning progress, knowledge, their skills, understanding of a particular subject or topic, and they are designed to measure students' achievement of learning outcomes and provide feedback on their strengths and areas for improvement. Uh, these learning LATs, they can take various formats depending on the learning objectives or nature of the subject. We can give them as written assignment or a project or a presentation or experiments to be done, performances like fine art performance, visual performance, something, those kind of things. You need to. Hello? धन्यवाद नमस्ते. कौन सा मीटर? अच्छा, वो जो शुरू में जो इंडिकेटर सा होता है वो. जो जो ऊपर से वो जो सुई जो रिफ्लेक्ट करती है, उसकी ज़रूरत है कोई? वो तो वह नहीं, उससे कोई मतलब उसकी एफिशिएंसी पे तो कोई असर नहीं आ रहा ना, और उससे मशीन की परफॉर्मेंस पर तो कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता ना. वो तो खाली रीडिंग दिखाएगा, रीडिंग देखता भी कौन है? वो इतना ऊपर रखा हुआ, वो वैसे भी नहीं कोई देखता उसको. नहीं, उसको रहने दो आप. हाँ, बाकी बाकी करा दो. थैंक यू. और उसकी चलो ठीक है. Sorry, Shivdasan ji. There is some problem with our one electrical equipment and the person was calling. Okay, so we were discussing that the LATs, they can include written assignments, projects, presentations, experiments, performances, portfolios, or any other type of task that allows students to demonstrate their learning in a practical and meaningful way. The purpose of learning assessment task is multifaceted. Means its purpose is to evaluate and measure the extent to which the students they have grasped the intended concepts or theories or skills. And additionally, they provide an opportunity for the students to apply their knowledge and skills in real or simulated situations, promoting deeper understanding and critical thinking. So these are the certain purposes of LAT. Then what happened? There are key characteristics of why it is not changing my slide on the screen. Okay, it is now here. So there are certain key characteristics of learning assessment task. Number one is the alignment with the learning objectives. They are designed to assess specific learning outcomes or objectives that have been identified for a particular course or subject. Then assessment criteria. They are typically accompanied by clear assessment criteria or rubrics that outline the expectations and standards for evaluating student performance. Another characteristic is authenticity. Like they aim to provide an authentic assessment experience which simulates real world scenarios or tasks relevant to the subject or the field of study. Another characteristic is their feedback and improvement received due to them, because they not only provide an evaluation of the student's performance, but also offer feedback on their work. This feedback is intended to guide students' learning process and support their ongoing improvement. Then summative and formative assessment, as we discussed. So they serve both as summative and formative assessment purposes. Summative learning assessment tasks are used to evaluate student achievement at the end of a unit or a course or an academic term, whereas formative learning assessment tasks are what happened? They are used during the learning process to monitor progress, provide feedback, or guide instruction in that. Has my screen sharing stopped? Monji, can you confirm whether my screen sharing is still there or not, Shivdashanji? Okay, let me try it again. Okay, now you can see it again. So let us examine what are the advantages and limitations of a learning assessment task. One advantage is that it provides for comprehensive evaluation of students' knowledge, their skills, and their understanding of a subject. These LAT provide a more holistic picture of students' learning compared to the traditional examinations or tests. Another advantage is application of knowledge, because learning assessment tasks often involve applying knowledge in real or simulated context, allowing students to demonstrate their ability to use what they have learned in practical situations. This promotes deeper understanding and transfer of knowledge to real-world scenarios. Another advantage is higher order thinking skills, as the learning assessment tasks can assess higher order thinking skills such as critical thinking, problem solving, analysis, synthesis, and creativity. They require students to think critically and apply their knowledge in complex situations, fostering intellectual growth. It helps in personalization and creativity enhancement because students get the opportunity to personalize their learning and showcase their creativity. So they can choose topics, formats, or approaches that align with their interests and strengths and increasing engagement and motivation. And another advantage is formative feedback. So these offer a platform for providing formative feedback to students. This feedback helps the students in understanding their strengths, the areas for improvement, guiding their learning process, and allowing them to make necessary adjustments for growth. There are certain challenges of these learning assessment tasks. One is the time intensive. They are time consuming. So for both students as well as educators. The detailed assessment of a complex task requires careful consideration and grading, and this may limit the number of learning assessment tasks that can be conducted within a given time frame. So if you have your semester of 3 months, at that time, like that, duration can be a challenge. Then subjectivity in assessment. Assessing learning assessment tasks often involves subjective judgment, especially when evaluating qualitative aspects such as creativity or communication skills. This subjectivity may introduce potential biases or inconsistency in grading. Another is resource. हेलो नमस्ते सर सर एक क्लास चल रही है एक मिनट मैं मैं आपको ये क्लास के बाद कॉल करता हूँ जी सर जी so another is resource requirements. Certain learning assessment tasks, they require specific resources, equipment, or technologies that may not be readily available in all educational settings. So limited access to necessary resources can hinder the implementation of a certain type of a learning assessment task. Then these LATs by nature focus on a specific task or assignment. And this makes it as a challenge because then in that case, it may not capture the entirety of a student's learning spectrum and understanding of the subject. Overall, they provide a snapshot of performance on a particular task, but may not reflect broader knowledge or skills acquired over time. Another factor is potential stress or anxiety. The high-stake nature of learning assessment tasks can lead to stress or anxiety among the students. The pressure to perform well on a single assessment can have negative effects on student well-being and may not accurately represent their overall abilities. So these are certain challenges of learning assessment tasks. Now, let us see that how they are used in education. These LATs, they are widely used in education across various grade levels and educational settings. Some of the common ways in which the learning assessment tasks are used in education are, number one, like to measure the learning outcomes. These are used to measure students' achievements of learning outcome or objectives which are established for a specific course, for a specific subject or curriculum. They provide means to assess whether students have successfully acquired the intended knowledge or skills and understanding. Another usage is to evaluate the mastery of content. These LATs assess students' comprehension, mastery of specific content areas. They allow educators to gauge how well students have grasped the key concepts or theories, principles, or subject-specific knowledge. The third use is assessing higher order thinking skills. They are very good for that. The learning assessment tasks, they often focus on assessing higher order thinking skills. And as you know that the higher order thinking skills, they are like critical thinking, problem solving, analysis, senses, creativity, and like that. So they go beyond simple recall of information and assess students' ability to apply knowledge, think critically, and solve complex problems. Uh, Another use in education is to provide feedback and supporting the growth of the students' learning, because they offer opportunities for providing timely and constructive feedback to students. So we as teachers can provide specific feedback on the strength of the students, weaknesses, their areas for improvement, helping them to understand their own progress and making adjustments for their growth. Then the another advantage is promoting active learning. So these learning assessment tasks, they encourage active learning by requiring students to actively engage with the subject matter through the creation of projects or presentations or experiments and other forms of learning assessment tasks. Students can become active participants in their learning progress. This helps us in fostering reflection and metacognition. In education, it's a big use because they often include reflective component where the student, they need to reflect on their learning experience or what kind of challenges they have faced or what kind of progress they have achieved. So this promotes metacognition skills. It helps students in developing self-awareness, become more independent and self-directed learners. They support differentiated instruction because these LATs, they can be tailored to suit different learning styles, interests and abilities. And therefore, we teachers, we can differentiate instruction by providing opportunities for the students to showcase their understanding in various formats and approaches. Another use is we can plan about our instructional strategy. The results and feedback from these learning assessment tasks, they provide valuable insights to inform instructional planning. And educators can identify areas where additional support or enrichment is needed and adjust their teaching strategies accordingly. And then we can monitor the progress and inform the grading. So these LATs, they serve as checkpoints to monitor students' progress throughout a course or an academic year. They contribute to the grading process, helping educators assign grades, marks that reflect students' demonstrated knowledge or skills or their understanding. So you can see that by incorporating learning assessment tasks in educational practices, we teachers can gain a more comprehensive and authentic understanding of students' learning, guide instruction effectively, and support students' continuous growth and development. This become very much useful for the teachers to help them because with the help of this, we can understand about the actual learning progress of the student. And this helps us in then planning as the teacher to have our instructional design or learning instruction in a more effective manner from there. So this is how it was about this unit, means this block 5. Block 5 is not a bigger block. I think let me I'll just show it to you. It's a very sure. I'll share my screen again. You can go with where is that? What's details? Oh, this one is there. Yes. So here you see this is your block 5 learning portfolio. We have already covered all this. So this one, okay. So here this discusses the structure of the learning portfolio, which we already discussed. That it has the learning outcomes, then the steps on what need to be included, and based on that, we need to uh, create certain learning assessment tasks. So this is the first task, that design a learning environment of a course of your choice. So it is a compulsory assessment. The learning objectives are that at the end of this task, you should be able to demonstrate ability to analyze, plan, and design the feature and media of a course to be delivered in distance education or online environment. So the tools and technologies which you will, there is no except word processing you will need. And then we define the role of the student, that as a learner, you need to define the context where you are going to develop this course. You may like to, you have to think it as a learner, that how the learner, what the learner would be gaining from there. And then output, about a short report in around 1,000 words you need to have. Then you need to plan about the assessment indicators, that how you have understood the course and how you present the design in a logical manner using multimedia and technology. So this is there. And the learning sport is about those. You need to think that whether you are going to offer radio, television, internet, mobile learning, or books, printed material, in what form the learning sport is needed. Means whether it is technical in nature or non-technical in nature, whether it is academic, professional, something, what kind of learning sport needs to be provided to the students. So this course has only 5, 6 these LAT. I have tried to give you, because these things they are in your course. You can already read them from here. So I try to create the other kind of learning assessment task which I demonstrated just now, that how you will be able to. So I suggest that you read these, and then like here it is use of graphic tools to draw either a concept map or one figure of a concept related to the choice. So it is optional. These are the learning objectives, that you should be able to demonstrate the use of graphic like FreeMind or CMap of Office Draw or Impress. And then technology required, you need to have the softwares with you. Your role is that as a learner, you need to use one of the software to prepare a concept map for option, either one or two, those topics which you have selected. Here, the output would be your concept map, which you have created. The assessment would be that how effective is your concept map, which shows the hierarchy, the relationships, and like those things. And then, so here, like as we discussed, create and edit a digital audio file of 10 minutes, which we have already discussed. And that was the audio, and here it is the digital video. A short film about 2-3 minutes on a topic. So you need to have certain software like any video converter or movie maker, something, and then create. Then this is to create a home page with HTML editor. So it is optional. At the end, you would create using a software and add in graphics, audio files, video clips, etc. in that. Then this is then hosting a web page on a free server. So you need to find like Google search and then you create a web page for the web server. This is write a blog in your blog sphere. So you need to have certain sites like Blogger or WordPress.com. You need to write a blog of say like 200 words, and then using some software you can use it. So these are various 10 learning assessment tasks given as an example in this course. And then these are the submissions. I think you will receive some instructions from your office, from your center, about how you need to create them and submit your learning portfolio before your examination. So that will be done, and this is how your learning portfolio would be assessed. There are certain letter grades, like if your work is excellent, then you will receive A grade. If it is very good, you will get B grade and C grade and like that. So there is the address that if you are in need of certain help, you can contact the IGNOU faculty either at your regional center, like Mohanji is here from the regional center Chandigarh, or in the Delhi headquarters. Those. So this is how this is a very interesting and practical oriented the block which we have covered today. So with this, we complete our course. We have covered two courses, MDE 414 and MDE 418 or 518, you can call them. 518 or 418 is more of technology oriented, in which we have seen that various technological tools, how you can use them in creating certain object, artifact, or certain learning assessment task. Okay, Shivdasan ji, do you have any questions? So I hope today you were able to, make a good understanding of, because this is little technical. The other things you already using mobile phone for your teaching learning, or internet or computer like that. So previous unit, but this unit was, so that's why I thought that let me show you some text in the form of a presentation. And uh, I have given you my phone number. You can send me a WhatsApp message, and I will share this PPT with you so that it will be easy for you to understand it. Mohanji, since our class for today is over, you may like to stop the recording. Shivdasan, I'm not able, if you are saying something, your voice is not coming. No, I can't hear you.